Hello, this is Fardin Ahmed, and I'm going to talk about the coursework too. So, in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the Unity UI for interaction and feedback, the animator and FSM character systems that I used. Also, I created many players and NPC prefabs and branching narrative and animations. I have some interactivity going on, and I implemented the scoring system using the tutorials, and I created the inventory by myself. And at last, I explained the implementation process. But first, let's talk about the player and prefabs. So I have many characters in this course of two. This is my player, my own player, and these are the NPCs that this player interacts with. This is the manager for the club, and there are guards, and this is the audience, one of the audience, and there are dancers, and this is one of the character that I used from the tutorials. So let's talk about branching narrative and animations. So the expectation was that the dialogues between NPC and player, and the dialogues change based on the player decisions during the conversation. So if I choose an option, the conversation will be different each time the user, the player chooses different options. The conversations will be different, and there will be different type of animations as well. So what did I do? I implemented the dialogue system using normal tutorials, and also used the new dialogue editor package from Unity to create the branching animation and also sound effects. So when the user chooses an option, there is a sound effect going on as well. So this is part of the extra work that I did. So this is the dialogue editor for Arisa, a character that I created. So, and these are the options. So for each of these options, the Arisa replies differently, and each answer have different options as well. So this is a branching narration, and for each of the character I have different type of enemy controllers. I just put 5 of them here. I have more because I have main characters, but these are some of the important animator controllers. So for the animator controllers, I needed to create some triggers and make transitions between the clips, and the trigger I use in the script graph to call the trigger in the from the animate trigger list, and then based on the counter I show different type of animations. So this is the in-game view of the dialog editor. So as you can see, the Arisa character says what is the best team in the world. There are 3 options: Barcelona, Real Madrid, and one more. So this is for the branching animations. And now let's talk about the inventory and scoring system. So the scoring system, I used it using the tutorials that we had, uh, and I also invented the inventory system on my own. Let's see that. So this is the inventory system that I was talking about. So I have some item prefabs lying on the ground. So when I click them, they are stored inside the inventory, and there is also a button called enable remove. If I click it, I can remove them as well. It's a toggle basically. So if I click it again, the option to remove it goes away, and when I press on these um, prefabs, the HP or the fat, they changes, and how they change I'll explain in the implementation part of my presentation. But for now, this is the game view, and this is the scoring system that I implemented using the tutorial. So in the tutorial we had iPad, but I used the laptop for my implementation. There is a dialog counter, there is a dialogue, there is the delivery time, the payment, the dinner ID. As you can see, there is a diner ID as well. This is extra because in the tutorial we didn't have the diner ID. I implemented it. So, and these are the buttons to uh, instantiate new diners. This is also part of the extra work, and I'll show that when I start my project. I'll show how it works. But this is the game for the moment. Now Okay, so when I press these buttons, they are the new diners that gets instantiated and they sit like this. And let's talk about the audio and lighting. So when the player enters the club, the player can hear the music that's been playing, and even when the player gets out of the club, the music doesn't stop. Only the player cannot hear the sound. I use this script to implement this option. I have a collider, so when any NPC, any character having the tag player collides in the collider that's in front of the club, the music starts playing. It starts playing means the sound goes up. Otherwise, the sound goes to zero. When the player is not inside the collider, the sound goes to zero. So this is the audio, and for the lightning, I use many kinds of lightning. There are some prepaid lighting options like spotlight and many other types of lighting. I used all of them, uh, and also I created my own lighting material for the club using the emissions. So as you can see, this is inside the club. This cube, this plane, they have the light material that I created myself using. This is the extra work that I did. So next up is, and this is the collider. So when the player is inside this collider, the sound goes to one. Normally it's in zero. So when the player goes outside, it's zero. This is the audio source. Now let's before I explain the implementation, let's start the project and show the project. So first the player can start, and then the laptop shows up. If I want to close the laptop, I can press the tab button to go. So normally the player will be like this. So this is the character that I implemented using the tutorials. So let's see. So when I press the auto button, the cook timer will go on. The cook timer is 5 seconds for the moment, and then after 5 seconds there will be burger on the counter. At the moment there is nothing. After 5 seconds there will be burger, and the cooked will be 1 and uncooked will be 9. So at the moment the uncooked is 10, but it's 0 at the moment because this is a placeholder at the moment. So and there will be option to pick up the burger. So when I have the burger on board, it will go to 1, and when I deliver the press the deliver button, the onboard will become 0, and then the delivery timer will go on, and after eating the payment, but I can press the payment button and happy will go to 1. So let's demonstrate this. So order, you can see cook timer goes on. There's nothing at the moment. Now there is a burger with the picking option. Let's pick it up. As you can see, uncooked is 9, onboard is 1. So at the moment there is nothing there. I press the deliver button. There is a burger. Let's see the timers. Eat is random. The eating timer is random. So every time I set up the variable so that every time the eating time is different. And now after eating, the payment timer goes on. I take the payment. You can see the happy is 1. So this is what I implemented using tutorial. So let's see the inventory. So this is also a placeholder at the moment. The HP is 100, fat is 100. So the inventory is empty at the moment. Let's cancel it. Now let's go and close. I can close the laptop and pick them up. Now we can see inventory. we have 3 items. Each of them have a different name and different sprite. And when I enable the remove button, it's a toggle. So if I click enable and disable it. So suppose let's disable the hot dog, is gone. And if I press on the button, you can see HP goes on, full menu, fat. So these items, they have different categories. I can show you. Item prefabs, items. As you can see, item type is good and there is also bad. So snack is good and the value is 10. That's why HP goes to 10. Full menu is bad, the value is 30, so it goes to 30. So this is the inventory system that I made myself. Extra work. Now let's move on to the branching animation. What? This is the boss menu. And this is Arisa. So Arisa have a collider here. So when I enter the collider and press F, you can see the branching animation is start and I can choose different options. So suppose if I choose I want to see you dance, if I just go in the club DC, I say okay. This is the end of the conversation. And now if I want to talk with her again and choose a different one, she will give me different type of options. What is the best in the world? Barcelona. She says exactly. And also I have sound effects on the branching element. Let me show the sounds. At the moment maybe you can hear it. If the sound is too low, I set the sound too low. And if I choose the Arisa conversation, okay, it's unavailable during the play mode. I'll show in the, as you can see, the yes sound effect. So when this speech is on, so if the player chooses yes option, the sound effect is yes sound effect, and there is also no sound effect, and there is also a laughing sound effect. I'll show them after this presentation. So this is the end. So this is the branching narration that I was talking about. Now let's move on to the club. As you can see, I have some guards here. They're roaming around the club. This is the interactivity, and these are the audience. And when I go inside the club, the sound goes on. So at the moment, I'm on headphone, so you can probably hear inside the what is the sound inside the club. So I'm going to turn off the headphone and then go inside the club.
Ey, todo el mundo feliz, todo el mundo no me quiere hablar, entonces vamos a competir. A ver.
As you can see, the sound is working. So let's go and interact with the dancers. So if I press talk, the animation starts and then it goes on and on. So this is this character, and it's always dancing. And this is another character. So let's talk with her. So this is it for this character, and these are the audience. You can say I just put some food on the table. So this is the club, and this is the pole dancer. By the way, he has a lot of animation as well. So now there's one more thing that I want to show, and Mia is a manager by the way. So manager and politician. So she has different type of animations as well. And the last thing is the diner. Diner initiation. So if I press diner 0, this guy pops up, and diner 1, this guy pops up. So this is the project. Now let's demonstrate the implementation. So implementation explanation. This is the diner scripting graph. So I added the diner ID and multiple diners. So this is used by the tutorials. I followed the tutorials and implemented this. So for the dialog and enemy trigger, I have dialog counter. So when I press the dialog button, there will be dialog list and the dialog enemy trigger list, and I'll get them, and the dialog value will be shown on the text dialog text value, and the counter value is also shown as I demonstrated before. The order button. So when I press the order button, and there are some scene variable and some object variable, depends, and then I use the scene variable across the whole scene, and the object is only for the object. This is the order button. So after I place the order, the timer goes on for the order. There is order wait timer, and after the wait timer goes on, the delivery timer text value starts, and then I have the deliver button. So when I press the deliver button, I have a position on the table, which is Piper position table, and I get the transform a position and rotation from this empty game object, and I instantiate the burger double patty prefab on that position and the rotation. And then another timer goes on, which is random by the way, and after that the pay timer is 10 seconds. So when I press the pay timer, when I press the pay button, the pay timer stops, and then the happy is turned to 1. As you can see here, happiness 1 is added, and it's a scene variable, so I can access it across the whole scene. So all of the things are used based on the tutorial, but the diner index, which is the diner ID, I implemented it myself. So this is what I did following the tutorials. Now let's go to the inventory part, which is interesting over here. I follow the tutorial. So this is the inventory scripts. So I want to 6 scripts for the inventory. One of them is item controller, and item pickup. So when I press it prefabs, I can pick it up, and then it will restore the inventory. And I have these items as well. They're the items. So when I create an item, create new item, turns like this, and they have different type of value: ID, item name, value, icon, and good and bad. If it's good, then it gets added to the HP. If it's bad, it gets added to the fat. So this is the whole project that I was. And let me talk about the sound script as well. So when the player is inside the collider, the outside volume is turned to 1. So it compares the tag player, and then it makes the sound to 1. When it goes out, it goes to 0. So this is the sound script. So this is the whole project that I've been working on. Thank you.